Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another SHOUTCraft Clan War right here on MLG TV. My name is TotalBiscuit. It's my pleasure to bring you today this lineup right here. Yes, it is Team Baguette from France taking on North America's Team Ascension. You might be wondering, hang on a minute, why is there a win thing on there? Did you make a mistake? I did not. So Intense will not be able to play today, which means that is an automatic one-game walkover for Team Baguette. That means that they will start one game up. So this could actually be done in 3 maps. I hope that it won't be. That would be kind of disappointing, but it could be. It is a possibility. I'm not going to discount that possibility. It's a lot better than not counting that and then having a situation where we run up to that game and then a team automatically loses. That would be pretty stupid, so we're going to stick with that. So apologies that you will not be able to see Intense play today. I got the email at the last possible moment, so we couldn't really replace him with anybody. But that's the lineup. We're going to start off in Crazy Clash. A perfect map for Ruff, I think, who plays a very unconventional style. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can come up with. And look at those Protoss. It's a whole team of Protoss. I hope you like Protoss, because we've got a lot of that. Look at that. That's a little bit silly, but there you go. They're all Protoss today. So we got Chubs taking on the Cool Man in Legacy of the Void Beta. That's on Echo. And then we have, I don't know what the hell happened here with this Photoshop. We've messed that up. Apologies for that. Lilbow taking on BioIce on Neo Emerald Plaza. And then the 2v2 on Neo Skywalker. We got Lilbow and DNS taking on Ruff and No Regret. And then, of course, we have the walkover match, which is a bit disappointing. I want to see Peninsula played. But then we have Psionic taking on Camco and Orichalcum. And Engines of War will be our ace match here. Cool. I'm about ready to get started. I certainly hope that you guys are. I'm feeling a little bit better today, as you've probably noticed. I'm not quite there yet in terms of getting my voice back, but it's much, much better than last time. I'd love to say that I have a co-caster today, but there weren't any available. I know people's like, well, are you having a co-caster? Trust me, I much prefer to cast with a co-caster. I know that I'm not the all-in-one solo caster. I don't think many people are, really. It's a pretty difficult thing to do, but I always prefer to have a co-caster. Gives a bit of extra knowledge, a lot of extra knowledge, really, but unfortunately nobody was available today, so I'm going to have to be doing this one alone. Alright, well, without further ado, let's get ready to kick it off, shall we? It's going to be on Crazy Clash, as I mentioned earlier. I'm just going to check if these guys are ready. We just had a decline on the lobby invite, so I've been trying to invite Ptit Drogo back in for the last 5 minutes. It's a hard name, that one. I assume it's short for Ptit, being that he's French, but I'm sure it's not Ptit Drogo, so we'll go for Ptit Drogo. That sounds like the way to go. Just trying to get him into the lobby. Ruff's ready to go. We're ready to go here, so I'd like to kick this off as soon as possible. Come on, Drogo! He may have been poisoned and left to die, and his Khaleesi is lonely. Come on. Mush mush. Should be a good set of matches, though. I am looking forward to it. The foreign teams have been putting on some really good performances, and you might be thinking, oh, well, you know, I want to see the Korean teams. I get that, you know, I love watching Korean StarCraft, but at the moment, I have to say that it is, for the most part, the foreign teams that are really putting on these really great performances here in Clan Wars. Alright, cool. Invite has now been successfully put through, and the countdown has now begun. Our first map will be Crazy Clash, hopefully starting off the way that we mean to go on here. Let's give you a little bit of a taste of what's to come. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Crazy Clash. It's my pleasure to bring you Ruff. He is in no, he's not in the red trunks. Am I suddenly color deficient? Apparently no. No. He's in the blue trunks, and he is playing Terran for Team Ascension to the north of Crazy Clash versus his opponent to the west position in the red trunks playing Protoss. It is Ptit Drogo for Team Baguette, the French team, who have been somewhat successful, actually, in the SC2 Improved Team League, which currently, I believe, is moving on to its playoffs. Axiom was also very successful in their division, dropping only 1 match out of 8. I think it's Team Liquid, I'm pretty sure Baguette's in there, and there's a couple of others whose name escapes me. Those should actually be played fairly shortly. It's good to see another Team League. Honestly, I love Team League. I absolutely adore it. This is really why I started doing Clan Wars, because I felt that we needed more Team Leagues, especially accessible to foreign players, because I just love the format. It's so much fun. It's a level of strategy beyond just playing 1v1. Because it's about picking the right player and about picking the right build for the map, and that often it actually results in some really interesting builds. Some people will call them extremely cheesy, and I'd say, yeah, absolutely, but it's a valid way of winning, and more often than not, you see some very creative play. But so far, so standard here from Ptit, Drogo, and Ruff. It's just such a shame that we don't have more foreign team leagues. I mean, I would kill for a foreign pro league. I think that would be an absolutely fantastic format, considering the amount of banter and trash talk. I think a foreign team league would be great. The problem is, of course, getting enough teams in the same place. That's never going to happen, so yeah, it's a bit sad, but never mind. All right, scouting coming off here from Ptit Drogo, who is having a look around and seeing what he can see. Hello, hello. That's an interesting move there by Ruff, actually. He destroyed the generator almost immediately, which gives him access to the gold. At least it will in a minute. You can actually destroy these bridge controls very easily with an SCV. This is unusual. We don't see a lot of players do this. And bear in mind, this went unscouted. So Ptit Drogo does not know that that happened, although I believe on the map he can actually see the bridges go down regardless. At least if I look at his vision, you can. I wonder if he's even noticed that, actually. This is a standard feature of Starcraft. You might be thinking, well, hang on a minute. Well, why can he see that? It's because terrain changes like this are actually shown on the minimap. That's just the way that Starcraft is made. But it looks like Ruff is going to go right for the gold base. Now, this is a pretty cool move, because actually getting access to the gold is nigh on impossible unless Ptit Drogo does the same thing. And that actually opens his base up to potential attacks. But Ptit Drogo has not shown any sign of wanting to go in that direction yet. He may not even see it. I mean, it's not the sort of thing that you usually pay attention to. And Ruff is going to be keeping him preoccupied with this Reaper for the time being. But it's a nice little move here from Ruff. A bit of an odd one, but it's the only way you can do it. You might be thinking, well, why the hell doesn't he just float the command center over? Well, the answer is quite simple. Missile turrets. You can't do it. Command center will not get there without dying. These missile turrets will fire on it and will destroy it very easily. Reaper gets a little bit of scouting information. Ooh, very close there. Ruff gets out with 4 HP. One more shot would have done it. And a standard expansion here for the Protoss player, so no sign of aggression as of yet. Robo coming down here as well, and Ptit Drogo is not knocking down these bridge controls, so he's not getting access to the center area here. So it looks like Ruff is going to get away with this for the time being. It's a cool move. And of course, by the time the Ptit Drogo actually scouts this, it's going to be nigh on impossible for him to respond, I think. I'd like to say, hey, you can scout with an observer, but you can't. These missile turrets completely prevent that. So it would involve Ptit Drogo taking a risk and opening up these bridge areas and actually allowing a direct attack path into his own base, which is extremely risky. And Ruff is... I like this. This is a cool move here by Ruff. What he's doing is he's destroying some of these missile turrets on his side so that he actually has access, but his opponent will not. That's a really nice little move. We don't see that done all that often, but it's smart. And Ruff is going to destroy some of these missile turrets, which will allow him to maybe get some medevacs over there or float some buildings over there if need be. Sweet. That's really cool. So he's taken out a couple of those. And I believe that's actually opened up a very small path that he can go through. Bear in mind, he may also want to open up a path to drop his opponent, which is a bit more difficult, but it is possible. It is possible to knock over a few of these missile turrets and kind of have a little bit of a nice arc that goes sort of around here. We'll see what he decides to do. Observer's on the way, and Ptit Drogo, of course, this entire time has had no idea that his opponent has expanded. Not a damn clue. Colossus is on the way here for Ptit Drogo. He's building up his robotics bay. But you've got to look at the income advantage. Ruff with the unfortunate supply block there. And, I mean, the amount of SCVs he's got is not exactly great because he's been working on a lot of other things. And Ptit Drogo has just been pure pro production at this point. But the income is really quite nice for Ruff. He's able to keep up with his opponent despite having a worker deficit, and that is going to rapidly change. You know, if Ruff continues to produce SCVs 2 at a time, if Ruff continues to move SCVs over to the gold base, he's going to have a significant income advantage going forward, and this is quite the defensible base here. Now, bear in mind that you've got to attack across this bridge, which is a choke point in and of itself. So if Ruff does what I think he's going to do, which is use tanks, he should be able to lock that area down quite nicely. Pylon going down to the bottom here, so wanting access. I wonder... Oh, looks like Ptit Drogo's going to take a... No, he's not. Maybe. I mean, that's a bit of a weird place to put a pylon, because that means he now can't put a nexus down there. I guess he can destroy his own pylon. I wonder if he's putting it down there specifically to stop his opponent from taking it. But, I mean, that's the mega base down at the bottom here, as we've seen. A lot of gold and 4 Vespene gas, which is, I believe, the only map I've ever seen where one base has 4 Vespene gas. Interesting, interesting. Well... Looks like Ptit Drogo is thinking about it now. He is moving around and seeing what he can see. Ooh, gotta be careful with those observers. Actually, the fact that Ruff has knocked out some of those missile turrets, I think means that Ptit Drogo may actually be able to move across here with his observer more so than we otherwise thought. There is a pylon coming across the map here. DT Shrine coming in as well, so this base is potentially vulnerable, but Ruff is well defended here for the time being. And Ruff, there we go. Ptit Drogo's now scouted and seen what's going on. But look at this. I mean, look how defensible this is. It's so hard to attack. You've got a Xel'Naga watchtower. If you put a few Colossus in play, and you get down, say, a missile turret for detection, I mean, that's not even going to matter, because Ruff's actually going Ravens here. Oh, and the observer goes down to the missile turrets. And, I mean, look at the size of that army. If Ptit Drogo decides to attack that way, I think he's going to be in a world of hurt. Attacking into a choke point against siege tanks, that's never a good idea. There's not a lot of maneuvering going on there. It's a really great defensive position here for Ruff. And Ruff is in a much better position now. I mean, look at his income. It's looking pretty good. He's now managed to catch up in SCVs. No sign of an expansion yet here for Ptit Drogo, and I have to actually wonder if Ruff will attempt to attack himself. He's now moving across. It looks like he will attempt to assault his opponent's base, and Ptit Drogo has nothing right now near this area. I mean, if his opponent is able to get across the bridge and not get choked in, this is a really great setup for Ruff. And bear in mind, Ruff has also destroyed all the missile turrets, allowing him to reinforce with Ravens and Banshee. This is a really unusual play. In the meantime, we've got some DTs coming over the way. There's a scan coming in, and where's the defense? There is actually none. Ruff, you might want to... Uh-oh. Well, the DTs are in now, so that's not good news, and some SCVs are going to die. I'd like to see those Hellbats go down. It looks like Ruff's more interested in trying to engage against his opponent here, but he needs to think about this, because he's going to lose tanks potentially. Oh, hello. There we go. At least he can see it now, but we've got DT Mania running wild here. There's the scan coming in, and Ruff is sieging up on the bridge and is able to use that to destroy the Robo. So finally it looks like these guys are going to get cleaned up. Not without cost here, but bear in mind that Ruff has been working quite nicely off of a gold base. And there's been no sign of expansion here of Ptit Drogo, who has been sitting on this army, but now he can't engage. I mean, there's a Raven in place, so if he attempts to attack, he's going to eat a Seeker missile right in the face. Bunch of siege tanks, Hellbats to deal with Zealots, bunch of Marines. It's a lovely setup, really, but Ptit Drogo has done some pretty significant economic damage. Nice maneuvering here. I love what he's doing with the DTs. I mean, so many SCVs were killed on this gold. But the army supply here for Ruff and the sieging position is just so brutal. Ptit Drogo is waiting as long as he possibly can. He's bringing in DTs, but there's a Raven in play. So I don't think that's going to make too much of a difference. And now here it comes. And a lovely use of point defense drone here to deflect the Nexus cannon. And here come the tanks. Huge shots going off on the Colossi here. And Ruff is in a fairly safe position with these point defense drones holding the Nexus cannon at bay, allowing these tanks to move into a siege location. I'm loving these moves here from Ruff. He's obviously practiced this map. Some Marines going down here because, unfortunately, of course, the point defense drone was nerfed, but it's still a great position here for Ruff, and he should be able to reinforce significantly. He's bringing in some more Hellions as well, and some damage is being done to the economy of Ptit Drogo, who is attempting to warp in across the map here by the looks of it, but he's just waiting as long as he possibly can because he doesn't want to engage again. I mean, look at this. This is nigh on unengageable. But he's going to go for it anyway. And here come the tanks shelling the Zealots. And Ruff needs to target fire down those Colossus as far as I'm concerned. The Blink Stalkers get into the mix here. And will Ptit Drogo be able to break it? It looks like he will. Nice use of the charging Zealots there. And Ruff unable to target down those Colossus. And suddenly, that was a huge push there from Ptit Drogo. A nice use of patience, a nice use of positioning. And that gold base is forfeit. And I think that Ruff is in a lot of trouble. And I don't even know if Ruff's going to be able to get away with this. I don't think so. I think he's going to lose it, and as a result, I think we're going to see a big push here across the map from Ptit Drogo, and potential loss here. Ruff had a great location, but he wasn't able to kill off the Nexus, and eventually he got engaged against. And I thought those tanks were going to be enough against the Colossus, but they ended up firing on the Zealots instead, killing a bunch of Marines in the process. Down goes the CC, and then Ptit Drogo was able to just break that location. Will he be able to hold it? I doubt it. There's too much here. Too many Blink Stalkers moving across the map, and yeah, it was a great siege location, but it wasn't good enough, and there's the GG, and Team Baguette takes the first win in this best-of-7 series. Well, that's not a good start for Team Ascension. They need to pick up every win they can get to compensate for that walkover, but I'm afraid that is not going to happen this time around. There's the quick win. Well, I wouldn't say quick win, but a patient win there for Ptit Drogo, who was able to break through that Terran siege location. There's all sorts of things that I would have liked to see from Ruff there. I would have liked to see maybe a few more Widow Mines in the mix. If he'd been able to do that, he would have been able to kill the Zealots a lot faster, which means he should have been able to hold that location. There's a lot of things that he could have done a little bit better there, but it was a cool build nonetheless. I would have liked to see him maybe try and take a third. That would have been nice. But one way or the other, that is a pretty good win. Pretty nice win there for Team Baguette. All right. Next on the docket, we have Legacy of the Void match. Chubs will take on the Cool Man, and we're going to be setting that up in just a few minutes, and the map is going to be Echo. Currently, the score is 2-0 in favor of Team Baguette, who could be sweeping through to a nice quick victory here. We'll find out after the break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next map is coming up shortly. We have the Cool Man taking on Chubs. Quite the names, really, isn't it? That's going to be a Zerg versus Protoss here on Echo LE and Legacy of the Void, and we will be loading into that one momentarily here. Currently, the score is 2-0 in favor of Team Baguette after a forfeit from Team Ascension. So that's why the scoreline is the way that it is. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Legacy of the Void. It is my pleasure to bring you Chubs. He is playing for Team Baguette, and he is in the pink trunks playing Protoss to the southeast of Echo LE versus his opponent to the northwest position in the yellow trunks playing Zerg. It is Team Ascension's the Cool Man, who I suppose, if he doesn't do too well with StarCraft 2, can get a nice career selling ice cream. Should do the job. Hello, hello. Nice quick start here, of course. With Legacy of the Void, we currently have a 12-worker start as opposed to 6. So that means a nice quick gateway out of Chubs. You might say, well, that's not that quick. It was on like 15 supply. Well, yeah, but it started nice and quickly because of the mining, the much accelerated mining at the start of the game. So the Cool Man begins his first hatchery. Double gateway coming out of Chubs here. So this looks like this is going to be an adept play. Now, I base this on the fact that every time I've seen a double gateway opening on Legacy of the Void up to this point, it has been an adept opening, which is particularly powerful now. The adept has been buffed to the point where there's very little reason not to use it in the early game. Now, the best way to counter it, certainly for the Zerg player, is a lot of queens, or to get roaches out nice and quickly. Because Zerglings die very fast to adepts. It's not that you can't surround the adepts and kill them, but the adept now actually has 180 total hit points, 90 shields, and 90 HP. And they do bonus damage to light. So, generally speaking, they're going to hurt. And they're going to kill Zerglings very, very quickly. So, yes, you can do the surround. That's totally possible. But you're going to want to consider getting a better unit if your opponent is going to be warping in a lot of adepts. And that's exactly what we're going to see. Double adept opening coming out here from Chubs. And in the meantime, let's see what we get from the Cool Man. He's going for the double queen, which is unsurprising. A few lings coming out, not too many. That's a little bit of a risk, not getting 2 more lings. We've got 2 more gateways coming out. Is Chubs going for a 1-base adept all in? It's possible. Can you even do that off 1 gas? I don't think you can. I wonder if this is going to be an adept zealot composition. It's possible. I don't think you can do it off 1 gas. Because, I mean, that's going to be 100 gas at a time. And the build time on the adepts is like 27 seconds. So I don't think you can mine enough gas to make that work. So I think it will actually be zealot adept unless he decides to take another gas. And as it stands, this is going to be a 1-base play. So this could be a nice and quick game here. Both of the zealots killed immediately, and the probe is on its way out as well. I need to see a spine come down, and it is coming down here for the Cool Man. The question is it coming down in time? We do have more queens on the way. I like the fact that Cool Man is moving his queens down to the bottom here. He's already seen the adepts. He knows what's coming. and he's also building a Roach Warren as well. So if he can hold off against the initial harass, he should be fine. And as you can see, Queens do just fine against Adepts. They don't take too much damage. The Adept damage is 23 versus light and 10 regular. And the attack speed is 1.61, so 1 shot every 1.61 seconds. So there's enough Lings coming out here to make this work, and Chubs with the 4 Adepts here, and I wonder if he is going to be warping in. It looks like he actually has enough for 4 more Adepts, so he's actually got 8 right now. The Spine is moving into position, but just the wrong time here. It's going to be taking quite a lot of fire. We're going to need to see the Queens move in to reinforce here and keep that Spine Crawler alive. It's going to be absolutely crucial to holding off this massive Adept push. Ling's on the way, but no speed. A few Roaches on the way as well. So right now, the Zerg is holding strong, but he's going to be going against 12 Adepts. So throw what I said out of the window. Apparently, you can do it. Looks like, yeah, no, he just took 1 gas. You can actually warp in 4 Adepts of 1 gas. That's really surprising. But look at this. Look at the massive Adept rush he's doing. He's pushing his ghosts all the way into the middle, and now he's going to a strike. Will he be able to take down his enemy in time, though? He's taking a lot of damage already, and the Roaches are now in play. So I'm not 100% sure if this is going to work. I mean, there's a bunch more Roaches now. Now the Adepts need to get the hell out of there. But it seems like they're stuck. He's going to lose a lot of units here. The Cool Man deflects this very nicely, and the Adepts have to pull back. And now it looks like Chubs is going to have to warp in some different units. Pure Adept is not going to work here. Cool Man was able to react quite nicely to it. And now the Roaches are moving in with the Spine Crawler spot here as well, and they're jumping right on top of those Stalkers. Although nice control here so far from Chubs. He's lost the bare minimum, but so far the Zerg player is holding this, and this is an all-in at this point. It doesn't seem like there's any sign whatsoever of Chubs expanding behind this. He wants to keep pushing. I don't know if he's got the units for it. I really don't. The Spine Crawler's still up. The Queens are still up. The Roaches are holding strong for the most part against Chubs' army, and it looks like this is going to be one dead Protoss. Coolman is now pushing away, and he may even be able to kill the pylon, at which point, well, there is a backup pylon, but I just don't think there's going to be enough units here. I mean, 1 base Protoss versus 2 base Zerg that is well defended. Unless he had tech in the mix here, which he really doesn't. He's playing pure gateway. I don't see this happening. I think if he'd gone in there initially, maybe with some Zealot support, maybe mixed up the composition a little bit instead of going pure Adept, he would have had a better shot at it, but as it stands, once the Adepts moved into the base and once the Roaches were in play, they weren't able to do much. I mean, Adepts don't fight Roaches well. They only hit for, what, 9, I guess? Yeah, 9 basic damage, which is not good against Roaches at all. I mean, you're not going to kill Roaches with that. You need Stalkers, you need, ideally, an Immortal in the mix, and we're going to see him keep warping in, but I just think Zerg's in a great position. Zerg has twice the economy of his opponent, Zerg has twice the bases of his opponent, and the Zerg has the perfect counter. I mean, Mass Roach will deflect Gateway. There's no doubt. And Chubs is going to keep trying to push this, but I mean, look at it. It's 6 Stalkers and 5 Zealots and now 1 Adept versus 14 Roaches. It's just not going to do the job. It's not enough. I mean, he's fighting up a ramp against a large ball of Roaches. The Zealots are just going to get cut down, and the Stalker's driven back. I think Chubs just has to... He's either got to try and expand here, maybe double expand to compensate, or he's just got to GG out, because he's never going to break this. He's got half the supply of his opponent. He does get a nice little snipe on the Queen and a Roach there, which maybe will give him a little bit of confidence, but think about this, you know, 32 drones, that's enough to produce like 6 Roaches at a time. He's building Roach speed as well. He's even getting creep spread down to where his opponent is. Chubs doesn't really stand a chance of breaking this, I don't think, in a million years. This is the army supply. It's 16 versus 44. I don't care how good your micro is. You're not going to break that. So I'm not sure what Chubs' plan is going forward from here. Whatever it is, it doesn't seem to be a particularly good one, because it's not doing the job. The Adept Rush sounded like a good idea at the time, but apparently all you need to do is build a Spine Crawler and a Roach Warren, and you're absolutely safe against it. And this is not looking good here for the Protoss player, I'm afraid. As soon as the speed is done, I think the Roach is just going to barrel over here. We're seeing a bit of latency here, unfortunately. The NA server is the only place to play Legacy of the Void right now, so it's probably not putting Chubs in a particularly good position since it's from France, but I mean, this is gonna be it. It's gonna be over 20 Roaches versus basically no Protoss whatsoever, and the speed is about to be done, so no more kiting is going to be happening here. I don't think it even matters. Chubs doesn't seem to be able to effectively kite against this in the first place, and there's the GG, and Team Ascension picks up their first win here in the series, which is very important for them. I mean, they really need to stay alive here since they already dropped a map, but a good start here for Team Ascension. They're able to defend against that rush, and evidently that 1 base Adept play doesn't really work. I mean, it's a 4-gate. It's a new adaptation of the 4-gate. You can build 4 Adepts at a time, but as soon as your opponent gets a spine or a decent number of queens or a roach warren, that edit push is done. It's not going to do anything. So I'm not 100% convinced by that play, I'm afraid. Alright folks, so we're going to be moving into the next map here, which is going to be Neo Emerald Plaza. It's going to be Lilbow, who is arguably the strongest player on Team Baguette, taking on BioIce. I'll be right back after the break with that one. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen. Why? I changed you. There we go. Let's try that one again. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Neo Emerald Plaza. It's my pleasure to bring you Lilbow. He is in the red trunks and he is playing Protoss to the southwest versus his opponent for Team Ascension in the northeast position. In the pink trunks playing Zerg, it is BioIce. Well, BioIce is in for a difficult time. Lilbow is very, very good. Very good. One of the best Protoss in the EU scene. BioIce has sort of yet to have his breakout moment, I would say. So it's going to be a bit of an uphill climb. But of course, if he's prepared properly, then he certainly has a good chance. But this is one of our more conventional maps, meaning that it can be a great deal easier for the better player to come out on top here, because it's much, much more difficult to catch them off guard with something strange, something weird, something that they weren't necessarily expecting. This is more of a straight-up map, as you can see. There aren't really that many crazy features, although there are these rocks that you can break down, which gives you a couple of additional attack paths, and the natural has a few areas in which you can be attacked, so it can be a little bit dangerous. Outside of that, though, it's so far so standard, really, when it comes to map design. There's nothing particularly crazy about it. Outside of it looking like a really cool version of Lost Temple, anyway. BioIce with the Zerg drone scout here. Really wants to make sure he knows what his opponent's doing and immediately starts a hatchery upon seeing the gateways built at the standard time. The gas is built at the standard time. There's nothing too out of the ordinary. No missing pylons. In fact, Lilbow puts a pylon right down next to it, saying, look, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to be proxying anything anytime soon. Nothing too wacky is going to be going on, and Lilbow's doing the same thing, checking out his opponent, making sure that the Zerg isn't doing anything crazy. No early pool or anything along those lines. Nope, no sign of a pool whatsoever here from BioIce. Looks like he will get nice, greedy 70 pool, unless he wants to go for a 3 hatch, which I don't think would be a very wise idea. I can't imagine he's going to do that. This is actually a super late pool here for BioIce. Really, really late. But he will get it. I mean, he's gonna get it on 17 supply, but he's gonna get it. He's going 3 hatch. 3 hatch against a gateway first. I mean, that's dicey, I gotta say. Lilbow's gonna have some interesting times here. Whether or not he can actually stop the hatchery from finishing, it's a different matter entirely, but he can give it a shot. It's not a completely safe area. It does take a while to get around. You've got to kind of run around here to get access to it. This is the easiest access path, but it's blocked off by rocks, so he might get away with it. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see BioIce actually go for that, but he is going to do it. So there are no lings on the map whatsoever here. Lilbow doesn't really have enough, I think, to really push him, but I think he can certainly kill some drones. Absolutely. I mean, there's no queen, there's no spine. Queens are now on the way, a couple of lings coming up as well, but Lilbow does have an opportunity to kill some drones here, and he's going to go for it instead of trying to stop the third base, which, I agree with this. And lovely micro so far from BioIce. He's lost absolutely nothing, and he loses 1, and then eventually kills it. So some mining time lost there and 1 drone down. But it looks like he's going to get away with this third base for the time being. We're not actually seeing an aggressive stance here from Lilbow. He's now adding on 2 additional gateways, but he's like saying, all right, fine, you can have the third base up. So BioIce got away with it, which is good. It's not like he was in a do-or-die situation, but perhaps we could have seen more pressure come down there from Lilbow. He may have decided to all in at that point, but he didn't. He's pretty confident that he can just beat BioIce straight up. And I wouldn't blame him. He should be confident. He's a really, really good player. He's been doing well lately. well enough to justify said confidence. But BioIce is in a good economic position going forward. He's got the base lead on his opponent, which is where you want to be as the Zerg player, no doubt about that. He's been able to produce drones. He's not gone too crazy on the link production. He's getting up queens at a reasonable rate. But that's not to say that Lilbow won't try and threaten that third base. If we see too much greed here from BioIce, you've got to bear in mind that that is a lot of units coming out from Lilbow, potentially out of 3 gateways. He's so far just building sentries, so he's playing defensively for the time being. I have to wonder if he'll attempt anything fancier than that. Well, let's see what his tech choice is. He's actually going to build a forge, so yeah, Lilbow's going to play super passive here by the looks of it. Ling's just on the way to have a look around and see what they can see, which is very little outside of our lovely sponsor logo here. Thank you to MLG for providing $5,000 a month in prize money. Much appreciated. This puts BioIce in a pretty good position going forward. He can do almost whatever he likes. Third base going down here very early for Lilbow. Generally don't see a third base on the 7-minute mark from the Protoss player, but it looks like that's exactly what Lilbow wants to do. And if BioIce has been droning up, which he has, then he can get away with that just fine. No problem at all. I mean, we're not even seeing a... Bear in mind, he hasn't even built a mothership core. He's just starting one now. Lilbow's kind of cutting corners in many places here to become an economic powerhouse. And so far, BioIce has no idea that's down. I mean, BioIce has been focusing on this wall here to the top of the natural, but he's made no attempt to scout the potential third base. I mean, and why would you? Why would you? You wouldn't necessarily expect a Protoss to have a third base this quickly. And look at this. Lilbow's gone pure sentry. And finally, BioIce is going to have a little bit of a nibble, but it's going to take forever to actually break through this. And I have to wonder if he's going to realize what's going on as the sentries move in here, and they're going to actually focus these Lings down. So I wonder if he's going to be thinking, hang on a minute, why do you have so many sentries up there? Why would that be the case? And here comes the attack. BioIce is gearing up for it. It's going to be a Ling Roach push. Looks like he's going to try and work his way around the other side here, give himself a few more options. I don't really blame him. Now, going around that side is effective. It means he can attack from this direction. Should do the job. Roach speed on the way here as well. And Lilbow defending with gateway units. But he's got a cannon, and he's got the mothership core and enough sentries to force field for days. So I'm not 100% convinced that we're going to be seeing a very effective attack here, unless we see a lot more units. And BioIce is gearing up for it. He's adding on another 16 Lings. He's up to 12, 13 Roaches now. He's going to be at 16. Look at the speed here as well. Blink starts for Lilbow, but he only has 1 Stalker so far. And the question is, where's he going to knock? Is he going to try and knock on the door here? There's going to be cannons backing that up. So, and of course the high ground advantage for Lilbow. Bear that in mind. Now the sentries and the Stalker are going to be able to fire from the top of the cliff here. So, I don't know about this attack from BioIce. I don't know if he can actually break this. I mean, with the 2 cannons up here, yeah, he might kill a gateway, certainly, but how much more is he going to get? And in come the Lings. The sentries placing their force field. It's a little bit of an overlap, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, he defended that without losing a unit. Few units moving in here, but I mean, BioIce is getting nothing done. Absolutely nothing. It's a really nice defensive style here from Lilbow, and it's doing the job. It repulses that without any problem whatsoever. Now comes the knock on the third base, but with enough force fields, he should have very little problem holding this back. And hell, if he manages to trap everything with the photon overcharge in play, that'll be great. More force fields going down here, but the Roaches are able to kind of slip past. But look at the amount of cannons Lilbow is playing with. This is the turtliest Protoss I've ever seen. A few Lings moving in, but they're not getting a lot of damage done. And a few Roaches moving in, and they're doing some. I mean, you might get a sentry here. Lilbow could have pulled that back, and it looks like he's actually going to even get a second one, which is, again, a bit of a mistake there from Lilbow, but he's dealing with attacks from multiple angles here as BioIce continues to flood in, but you've got to consider the amount of investment that's gone into this. And look at that, what a great trap. He prevents his opponent from getting away here, although it's going to be a lot of sentries dying here because that's BioIce's only alternative, and BioIce GG, so Lilbow wins by doing nothing, essentially. Very impressive play there by Lilbow. He just defends against what was a kind of weird 3-base Roach Ling all-in. I just don't really see why. And why would you all-in and then just GG out like that? I don't know. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. When you have that economic lead, why not tech? Your opponent is playing super passive. Don't play into his plan. Take more bases. I mean, he was up against sentries and nothing else. There was no sign of tech. He built a forge and a bunch of cannons. He didn't have a robo. He did have a Twilight, and he was starting to get blink, but he didn't have enough gateways to support a large blink stalker army. So if I was BioIce, what I would have done there is just hold back and consider taking more bases, teching up, and gaining an advantage over the opponent, but instead he went for the attack, and it was a weird split attack as well. He hit the natural and the third, but he hit neither particularly effectively. But props to Lilbow for a really excellent defense there, and BioIce was not able to get anything done there whatsoever. That's now 3-1 in favor of Team Baguette. We could have a very short series here, folks. The next map is going to be the 2v2, Neo Skywalker. Lilbow will be in action again with his teammate DNS versus Ruff and No Regret. We'll be setting that up momentarily, and we'll be back with potentially the final map of this series. Will Baguette be able to close this out 4-1? Will we see the comeback begin here from Team Ascension? We'll find out after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 2v2, potentially the final map, unless Team Ascension can pull it back. Representing Team Ascension we have in the blue trunks playing Zerg No Regret and his teammate in the red trunks playing Terran Ruff versus their opponents to the south position. For Team Baguette in the purple trunks playing Protoss is Lilbow and also playing Protoss, DNS. Yep, a lot of Protoss. Team Baguette is almost exclusively Protoss. Not entirely. They do have Marine Lord, but he's not playing today, so it's mostly Protoss, mostly. Double Protoss in 2v2. Haven't actually seen that before. I've no idea what to expect. This is Neo Skywalker. It's got a few interesting features. A lot of these collapsible cooling towers along the area, and perhaps the most important ones are the ones that hover ominously above the gold bases on this map. You can take some very easy in-base gold. Sounds great, right? I mean, why wouldn't you want to take it? Well, there's a small downside. If those rock towers are collapsed, the gold minerals are destroyed. Yes, indeed, they will collapse upon the mineral patches and destroy the expansion completely. So it is a big risk. Some players elect not to take them because of the amount of potential risk there, because they can be sniped. But we will see what happens. All right, let's see if Ruff and No Regret have a strategy here, because if they don't, then this is going to be a swift victory for the Frenchmen, who have put on a clinic so far. Obviously knowing exactly what they're doing. Ruff had some really impressive games, I've got to say. Got to see a really early gold opening here from No Regret. I certainly don't blame him for giving that a shot. I mean, why wouldn't you? It's an in-base gold. It is possible to defend it, and the amount of early game economic boost you can get from that is absolutely massive. You know, it's kind of sad, really, because I think that Ruff on that first map, let's say, for instance, that the point defense nerf had not happened, then I think that Ruff would have been able to break that, but it does, unfortunately. I mean, they did nerf the point defense drone. I certainly don't blame them for nerfing it. It was a little bit ridiculous how long it hung around. So that push just wasn't quite as strong, but nonetheless, we're going to see what a double Protoss team can do and what exactly they're going to go for. I wonder if they'll go for some kind of mass airplay. That will be very difficult to counter if you say just double up the number of air units you bring into the game early. So far, so standard, though, from both players going for a wall-off. Of course, they don't want to be Zergling rushed quite early, so no real blame for them doing that. That's pretty standard. The question is, what tech do they go into after this? Let's see a Zealot coming out here from DNS and a Mothership Core, but so far, Lilbow not showing signs of building either. I mean, obviously, we saw a very defensive play from Lilbow in his 1v1 match. I have to wonder if he plays the same in 2v2. Ruff going for what looks to be Mass Reaper here. He's actually going Reactor Reaper, which is pretty rare. You generally don't see that. Be interesting to see how that works out, if at all. I am looking forward to seeing it. Zealot's going to hack and slash away by the sounds of it. Something going down here. He's going to try and collapse these towers, which is a good idea. You know, remove as much access as possible. Admittedly, if it's going to be Mass Reaper, then I wonder if this is really going to make too much of a difference. So, in theory, Ruff can now build 4 Reapers at once. I assume he's got the gas for it. He's got 2 gas now. I have to wonder if he's actually being fed gas by No Regret. He might be. This is a crazy build here from Ruff. That's exactly what we've come to expect from him. In the meantime, No Regret is mining hard from this gold base. So far, no expansions coming out here from either of our Protoss player. Additional gateway coming down for DNS, whereas a Stargate is coming down for Lilbow here. And here come the Reapers. Do you fear the Reapers? One has to wonder. I mean, there's 4 Reapers being built simultaneously. 4 Reapers, that's a lot of Reapers. That is a lot of Reapers. Maybe even enough Reapers to actually, you know, kill units. So the Zealot shields are already down, and I think there's going to be a bit of a surprise here. Bit of a surprise for DNS when he has to deal with 6 Reapers. Bunch of Zerglings coming in, but I've got to wonder, I think there might even be enough Reapers to fight a large swell of Zerglings. Not that it really matters, because these Zerglings are going to be backing up the Reapers rather than fighting them. So I wonder, I don't know, I mean, both these Protoss players have not exactly been building a lot, but unfortunately, Reapers take a long damn time to break down debris. That's not really an option. He's going to have to try something else. There are, of course, attack paths, however, that he can use, and he's right into the base here of Lilbow, and there's no defense. No defense whatsoever. God, the amount of damage that's being done. Or at least could be done. It kills those units so quickly. Well, we're going to see some damage being done here. Pylons are taking a lot of heat here in the process. Zerglings are trying to make their way through. This is a really interesting, aggressive play. Oh, there's the quick lift on the Reaper. That doesn't actually make a difference because you won't be able to kill it, but there's now 8 Reapers on the board. And, of course, they will be able to regenerate a lot of their health as well, so just bear that in mind. But so far, not that much damage has been done. Lings are continuing to try and make their way through here. We're going to see the regen on these Reapers momentarily. There's the lift on one of them. And, of course, the Phoenixes will actually be a fairly decent counter to these Reapers. They kill them so fast. So it's a really weird build here from Ruff. I don't know if it's going to do anything. I mean, there's more Reapers on the way across the map. There's currently 9 Reapers, but what are they doing? I mean, he's not been able to make his way into a mineral line, and it looks like these guys are going to have to back off for the time being. We've got the Protoss players playing super defensively. In come the Reapers once again, but look at how quickly they're killed by these Phoenixes. It's devastating. Oh, the lovely force field catches another one, and most of the Reaper force is now dead. Phoenix versus Reaper. Not generally what you see happen, but it does work, as it turns out. It's actually pretty damn effective, and this is about to get broken. There aren't that many force fields available here. The Lings are in, but there's not... Are there enough to actually break through? He's killing a lot of units here. Looks like No Regret has actually been able to devastate the Protoss army. Look at that! So many Lings. These are +1 as well, and the Reapers make their way through as well. They managed to break it. This is kind of working somehow. I think it's mostly the Zerglings as opposed to the Reapers doing much, but that's a lot of Zerglings. They've broken the defense, and now they're into the mineral line. And, of course, the Phoenixes are not going to do anything against mass Zergling. More Zerglings coming across the field. This is fueled, of course, from a gold base. Reapers are just causing havoc. There's 6 Reapers on the map right now, and they're actually killing Zealots. Quite effectively, I might add as well. Another probe goes down here. Of course, they're all going to die to the Phoenixes, but the Lings have done a lot. Have they done enough to justify the run by? I think so. I mean, right now the Zerg's in a really good economic position, and these Zerglings are a complete pain in the arse. The Protoss players are on the defensive here, and they're losing probes left and right. Looks like they're going to be able to hold for the time being, but I mean, look at the number of units that No Regret actually has here. He's running from base to base to base. He's going to try and kill this Nexus. Can he do it? I don't know if he... I think he can. I actually think he has the DPS to do it. Assuming he micros against this Zealot, he's looking to do it. He's going to kill the gold base. Lovely play there. Big commitment to do it, but worth it, I think. I mean, bear in mind, No Regret's doing all of this with Zealots, with Lings alone. He's just building Lings and killing Nexus. You know, I mean, why wouldn't you do that? So, we've got currently Lilbow and 2 bases, but the gold base is down. We've got this base coming up here for Ruff, who... I mean, I'm not entirely convinced about the Reaper play, but the Lings certainly did the job. Now, these Phoenixes are going to maraud across the map. There's a Void Ray coming in as well. I think No Regret's going to have to quit it when it comes to that. Maybe try and attack the debris down the bottom here. Maybe do some damage there. These Phoenixes so far are just going to run around and pick up Reapers. I really do think that Reapers have got to stop here for Ruff. They're not getting anything done right now. It was a huge investment from Ruff, and he's really not been able to make anything happen with it. He's being a pain in the arse, don't get me wrong, but, I mean, each of those Reapers is a 50 gas investment. That's pretty huge, and Ruff is so far behind on tech. No Regret has done a lot of damage with his Lings, but I have to wonder if it is enough. More Lings now moving across, and, I mean, that's a solid defensive line here from DNS and Lilbow. I don't think we're going to see a breakthrough here. Absolutely not. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him knock at the front door. That's probably not a bad idea. Take down some of this debris and maybe open up some additional attack paths. But what I do like is that No Regret is transitioning. He's actually transitioning to Hydras, which is a good idea. I mean, there's a lot of Phoenixes on the board. And it looks like Lilbow is looking for Stargate play, so Hydra is great. Why not? Build a bunch of Hydralisks. And he's been building up a bunch of gas in the process because he's been playing the last 10 minutes of this game on Lings alone. And he did a bunch of damage to hold his opponents back. And the question is, has he done enough? My concern is that while No Regret has done a lot of damage, Ruff hasn't. And Ruff is behind economically. He's trying to play catch-up. He's going Ghost right now, which is highly unusual. I wonder if he will actually attempt to nuke. There's a possibility. There's the lifts, and, well, a bunch of Phoenixes did die, but he also took some Hydras with him. It's down to 5 Phoenixes, but the 16 Hydras now. I'd love to see this actually linked up here. This creep spread is a little lackluster. It'd be good to actually see some tumors up there. We're going to see a Robo coming out Lilbow, and additional gateways out of DNS, who just seems to be the provider of gateway units for the time being. The Phoenix is now moving in to see what kind of damage they can get done. There are actually no spores here, so a decent amount of damage can be done. The Hydras are not close at this point. Flings are moving in, which is ineffective, as you might imagine. They're not going to get much done. I'd like to see some spores in the back here. That would be good. Ghosts on the way. What a strange build here for Ruff. It may just be for EMP support. It might be. And if that's all he's going to do, if he's going to build a bunch of ghosts in order to EMP the Protoss army, I mean, it's a double Protoss. Why would you not take EMP? It's such an effective spell against that many Protoss in a large ball. But I have to wonder if he will attempt to go nuke. He's not building a factory right now, so I guess not. He's just going to provide some supporting ghosts and some Marines and Marauders. And here comes the push. Marines, Marauders moving across. Some damage was done here again with the Phoenixes. But not crippling by any stretch of the imagination. There's missile turrets now in the back here for Ruff, who has managed to catch up quite nicely economically thanks to his mules. And here comes the push. He's got a single ghost. Just one. So he's going to have to try and get a really, really good EMP off with this. And so far, no sign of the EMP just yet. He's being very, very careful with it. He would love to get that good shot off. Like a money EMP would be very effective here. If the shields go down, the Hydras will tear this army apart. I mean, right now, the amount of damage that's available in Team Ascension's army is huge. An EMP would be absolutely critical here. I'm not sure if he's actually been able to pull it off, though. So far, he has not. They're just holding it back for the time being, just trying to buy time. But just look at the size of the army. There aren't even, I don't think there's even enough Colossus to really deal with this. So many units, but look at the number of Hydralisks and the amount of Marine DPS behind this as well, with the Ghost support. And Team Ascension is attempting to chew through, but the problem is the Colossus aren't dead. And the Hydras are eventually killed off because of no focus fire. Oh, can he break it? It's such a costly engagement for both sides. The Colossus do go down, but 2 reinforcing Colossi come around the back, and the reinforcements are going to be caught off guard here. The Ghost is killed as well, and it looks like the swing is back in favor of Team Baguette. And it really came down to the fact that those Colossus just stood tall the entire time, and no focus fire was available. Now another Colossus is going to fall, and he's going to try and jump on top of it with Stim Marines as well. Can he kill it? Yes, he can. And he focuses down the remainder of the Protoss army, kills both the Phoenixes as well. Super costly for both sides here, but right now, no regret. Looks like he has the edge. DNS bringing in a bunch of Stalkers. He'll watch out. He doesn't want to engage with just half his army. He needs the reinforcements here. Lilbow has a decent army. If by decent we mean like a Void Ray and 4 Zealots, but I don't know. This is looking a bit dicey here for the guys from France. It's scrappy one way or the other. There's no doubt about that. Both sides are on equal numbers of bases right now. The gold base is being mined by DNS, so he's able to provide a huge amount of backup gateway units, and Colossus are up in the air as well here. 17 Stalkers available for DNS, which I would assume have Blink. They do. And it looks like they're going to gather up. The risk, I think, here is that they get a little bit too impetuous, and they decide to engage without the full strength of their armies. But it doesn't look like they're going to do that. They're going to build up a huge force, and they're going to attack again. They want to make sure the Colossus ball doesn't get to critical mass, because they don't have a huge counter to that. In fact, the Hydras are getting murdered by the Colossi, as we saw previously. So he needs to get a good engagement angle, and here it is. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm a bit worried. They're rushing into a choke point here against Colossi fire, but for the most part, the Colossi are actually focusing on the Marauders. There's 4 Colossus up right now, though. Uh-oh, this is not good news here. This is not good news at all for Team Ascension. 4 Colossi, they're not going to be able to get away. The Blink Stalkers are going to kill all the Hydras on the way out. They didn't have an answer to the Colossus, and now this is spelling disaster for Team Ascension. The Blink Stalkers come in and kill the rest of the Hydras. Big damage being done here. No Regret's going to have to back off. Oh no! He collapses the rocks and keeps the Hydralisks out. Thankfully, it looks like they're not pursuing, but suddenly this has turned around in favor of the Protoss force, who has a huge amount of Colossi. Lilbow packing 4, looking for 6, and Ruff with no answer. I mean, there's no Vikings. There are no Corruptors. This is a force that will be killed by 6 or 8 Colossi, easily. And even if he did go corrupted, there's 4 Void Ray available here, so I don't even know if that would make the difference. And Ruff is still dedicated to Bio. He didn't even tech to Factory. He's been building nothing but Bio. So he's going to have to go Marauder heavy. That's really the only chance he's got of holding off the Colossi forces, and hoping, of course, that the Protoss player decides to play passively. But why would you play passively when you have 8 Colossi? Generally, you wouldn't. You have no reason to do that. Ling attack, trying to deny the space, and he should be able to get it by the looks of it. He's got enough Lings to absolutely surround and kill that. Here comes the drop by Ruff, who's looking to take out yet another base. Nice strikes here from Team Ascension. They work over one, and they take another, and then they get out. This is exactly what they need to be doing. They need to be playing catch-up. They need to actually build the tech necessary to defeat that massive Colossus force. And they're trying to do that by killing bases. And the lack of anti-air is certainly hurting here. The Void Rays will not be able to pursue these medevacs, unless, of course, they stop Ruff! No! Huge mistake there by Ruff, losing 3 full medevacs. No reason for that at all. And Ruff could have boosted out that he didn't. He's going back to Reaper, which is a really... I don't know what he plans on doing with Reapers. I mean, I really don't. There's a lot of them, yes. And, I mean, they have +1/+1, but... they don't do a lot of DPS at this stage in the game. Going back to Reaper doesn't make a lot of sense. And here comes the army push, and it's huge. It's massive. Lilbow is almost maxed out. DNS is looking strong here as well. Whereas No Regret is under 100 supply, and so is Ruff. And I think this is going to be it, I'm afraid. They put on a good fight, but it wasn't quite enough. They didn't adapt to the Colossi well enough. And now the huge Protoss Death Ball comes bearing down. And Mass Reaper is not going to defeat it, I'm afraid. Not at all. There aren't enough Zerg forces to make up for the lack of Terran Bio here, and this, I think, is going to be a 4-1 victory for Team Baguette as they charge forward with... oh, God, they have 10 Colossi! 10! It's just too many. There's no way. Trying a Mutalisk transition, yeah, if he had 10 more minutes and 2 more bases, maybe. Ruff going for the drop play, but I think this is going to be it. No Regret has been overrun here. The Protoss army strikes, and that, I think, is going to be that. I don't think the Mutalisks are going to get out. I mean, by the time that they get up, they're going to be shot down by the Stalkers, as you can see. They don't even get anywhere. Another Zerg base taken out very easily. There's the quick counterattack. Ruff going in with his Reapers. I mean, he has 13 of them. Unfortunately, Reapers don't have grenades anymore, so they're really not that good. Ling's trying to base trade, but it's not going to be enough. Hydra's striking. But the size of the army here for the Protoss player is just too big. It's massive. There's like 2 Mutalisks trying desperately to kill that. There's the GG, and that is it, folks. Team Baguette take the series 4-1 in a pretty one-sided affair. Admittedly, that was a good 2v2, but unfortunately, they couldn't kill the Protoss in time, I'm afraid. They couldn't do it. And once the critical mass of Colossi was up, that was it. They had a shot. They did. I mean, they did pretty well. But once that Colossi Death Ball was up and they didn't have the answer for it, well, that was it. I'd like to see some nuke play. That might have done the job, or maybe just anything. Tanks, Vikings, something. I mean, you can't kill Colossi with Marines and Hydras. It just doesn't work. And there you go. Team Baguette takes the ultimate victory in this clan war. A pretty short affair, so... I mean, I suppose I should apologize for that, but it's not really my fault, is it? So, a fairly short series, but regardless, Baguette putting on a dominating performance, even without Marine Lord, who's arguably their ace. So there you go. Alright, we do have another clan war coming up this month. In fact, we have 2 more. I would say we have Yo Flash Wolves versus Spinu, but unfortunately, that's going to be moved probably till the end of the month. I'm going to be able to confirm that with you within the next few days. But we do have Axiom versus Prime on Wednesday at 2 p.m. EDT. Very odd time for them to be playing, actually. I have to double check if that's true. That's a really weird time for them. But apparently they're both playing at 3 in the morning? That's weird. I'm going to have to double check on that. That doesn't seem right at all. I'll see if I can maybe move that to a more Korean suitable time, because that's a little bit crazy one way or the other. But it will be Axiom taking on Prime. So that should be a pretty good match. And then we have 10 more matchups set for June. But we don't have... Actually, yeah, that's incorrect. It was at 8 p.m. Sorry, I've got that completely wrong. I'm going to have to edit the thread there. For some reason, it says it's at 2 p.m. EDT. That's at 8 p.m. EDT on May the 27th. That's a Wednesday. And then Spenu taking on Yo Flash Wolves will probably be at the end of the month. We're going to have to move that. But it is going to happen nonetheless. And that's going to be a great fight. And then, of course, 10 more Clan Wars in June. Thank you very much for watching, folks. The rerun will begin shortly. And big thanks, of course, to our sponsor, MLG TV, for providing $60,000 a year in prize money for this particular tournament. If you missed anything, the reruns will begin shortly, and the VODs will be available on youtube.com/TotalBiscuit. Click the follow button on the MLG.TV page to be alerted of new Clan Wars going live. Thank you very much for watching, folks, and I'll see you next time.